In today's episode, we are introducing the new MTB. The last time I owned an analog machine, a non-electric MTB, was a whopping 5 years ago. Yo! Welcome to a new video on the bike channel. It is a new bike day, driving all the way from the northwest in the UK all the way to the northeast. It's a 3-hour drive. Man's got the loot. It is done. The deal is done. The bike is in the back of the car. We are in Saltburn by the sea. Look at that for colours. We're going to head back home and I'll give you a backstory on buying the Santa Cruz Nomad. Yes, that is exactly what we've got. Check out the sizing on this for me. So that's the standover. It's a pretty nice standover. The reach, my arms are slightly kinked, so the reach is pretty good on the bike. Super plush with the rear coil on it. The reach feels mega, which is going to change because I'm going to put high-rise bars on it. Whilst the whole world is steering towards electric bikes, I have not owned a manual bike in 5 years. The last manual bike, analog, non-electric bike that I owned was 2021, but the very beginning of it. Watching the whole world push towards electric bikes, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my e-bike. My Specialized Canevo that we're building on this channel right now gets me out of bed. It's sick. I have had a massive urge to get an analog MTB. Look at my new bike. It is insane. The guy who's previously owned the bike has obviously been enjoying red grips to go with the red reserves. I am going to be taking these grips off today. I think it wants black grips to just stealth out the cockpit, to really keep it green and black. Carbon Burgtec carbon DH handlebars. I'm definitely going to be swapping these out for some high-rise bars, and I am going to be swapping the stem out for my gravity stem off my electric bike now that we've done chrome mods to the electric bike. It's got XTR levers. The XTR levers look really cool. This bike is so high-end, every single bolt has been upgraded. Nomad CC frame, which is their highest end spec frame. So, one thing that's pretty funny that come on this bike is ganja leaf top linkage bolts, which we are swapping today for some black ones. I'm not interested in these. So, yeah, it's got a pretty stock RockShox Reverb 150 post on it. DHX2 factory rear shock with a, I think it's a 450 coil on it. Frame size is a medium. Underneath these stickers is kind of like just a full pink graphic all the way down. But I do quite like the loud graphics. I think they look kind of cool. I kind of like them. They've done a full graphics kit on this bike because they've done where it says Nomad CC there. They've changed the sticker at the back where it says VPP. SRAM Eagle cassette with AXS wireless shifting, which is pretty mad. If you've never ever used wireless shifting, I have to say it has impressed me in the day that I've owned this bike. Strapped to Industry 9 hubs. I'll show you the sound of this hub in a moment. 2-piston XTR trail brakes. You know what, I would go as far as saying it's the most high-end bike I've ever owned, to be honest with you. It is pretty insane. every single part on it. I've never owned SRAM wireless AXS stuff. Never had a high-end cassette, especially in that colour, which matches the Kashima, which is really cool. Just little things as well, like all the axles. It's got upgraded Burgtec axles on the front of the 38s, on the rear of the rear dropouts. It's just got like so many parts on it that are just absolutely unreal. One of the craziest things about my new MTB is the rear hub. Listen to the Industry 9 rear hub. It sounds crazy. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on how this was not the easiest bike in the world to capture. So, very quick story time on purchasing this bike. They come with a very expensive price tag. One of these brand new out the box would be like 10 plus grand. So, a little bit of a backstory on buying this bike. It was online, and it had been online for a few months because of the expensive price tag. My guess is not that many people are buying analog bikes for that sort of price point. So its original list price, I'm pretty sure, was about 5 grand a few months ago. It's a 2022 model. The reason I wanted to go for a 2022 model was because it's the last Nomad in 27.5. So a lot of bikes now have a 29-inch front wheel. For me, it just feels a bit too big. I'm a sucker for getting stuck in my ways, and I do like 27.5. 27.5 ain't dead. Long story short, I'm watching this bike for a little bit online, and the price points come down to 3,900. So I thought I'd be super cheeky, and I messaged the guy saying, would you take 3 grand? At this point, I didn't know that it had AXS gears on the back. Knew it would be a complete steal if I could get it for 3k. The guy was pretty chilled about it, but he was definitely like, go away, you're not buying my bike for 3k. He basically messaged me back saying 3.5k, and I was like, oh, I really want to get it a little bit cheaper. So I pushed him back at 3,200, and then he ghosted me. He ghosted me for like 5 days. Got a guy with an amazing bike, and I think I freaked him out. Long story short, it was a Wednesday. I was double texting him, and he did not reply to me by like Monday, and his pink bike was updating as still for sale. So I know he was looking for a buyer still, but it was not me. I had to get in there. Really naughty. I got another phone number. I texted him off another phone number, and he said, yeah, the bike's for sale. So it was up for 3,900. I offered him 3,600, and he countered at 3,750. So I paid the man. When I got there, he was cool, and I'm sure he's happy now that the bike went to me. Until making this video, I don't think he knows that it was me who come and bought the bike, but who knows. He definitely mentioned it when I was there, so I'm wondering whether he was putting 2 and 2 together once I got to his place to buy the bike. But he was cool, the guy was super cool. He said he wasn't riding much anymore, he surfs a lot, so he's more of a surfer. Next thing we've got to do a couple of mods. You've been riding as long as I have, a bike has to ride how you want it to ride. First thing we got to do though, we got to pick a colour that's themed to this bike. Some of you will be thinking the green works well with the added green frame, but for me they're different greens. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pink to match some of the pink graphics on this bike. That's definitely purple. That's definitely purple. This is not working. We're going to go neutral in today's episode. We're going clear on the lights. Every video is going to be a light choice. Burgtec bars and the Gravity 35mm Hope stem. So them two are going on this bike, and these carbon DH bars and Burgtec Mark II stem are coming off this Nomad. What I'm doing today is pretty simple. In short, I'm loosening this stem, and I'm removing the full stem, bars, spacers, everything, down to just this Hope top cap. There is a reason for doing this. That's because I'm going to reinsert the star nut. we've got to get this star nut out. Oh. So this thing is going to be reinserted once I've cut my steer tube down. I'm going to reinsert that near the top. Here we are. We're going to have 2 spaces, and then we're going to have this like this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the steerer where it needs cutting, and then I'm going to cut it slightly shorter by probably a few mil. So check it out. So what I've done, I've put it like this. I'm going to mark this and then cut it slightly shorter. I think that looks really cool. 50mm rise bars. Looks super BMXy. So unfit right now. This is one of the reasons why I've bought a big bike. This is one of the reasons why I bought an analog bike, is to get fit again. So I've fitted my wheel back on, and now we're going to use a hammer, a ratchet, and we're going to reinstall this star nut into the forks. Oh. Where the fuck did that go? Oh my god, it went all the way down. Okay, so I'm currently modding my star nut, and basically I'm just trying to pull these pieces back up a bit to give it a bit of grunt again. Probably should have just ordered a new one of these, but kind of want to ride the bike today. It's not that deep. These will pretty much just grip again by just popping them open a bit. So it's a lot stiffer this time, and that will do. Result, you don't need much tension to tighten up a headset, so I've only popped it in about that much. As you can see. Look at that for a transformation. Slammed stem, 2 tiny little spaces which I am going to change at some point for nicer ones, and then the riser bars. Look at that for a build. It's looking good, looking nice. Happy with that. So the next thing we've got to do, we've got to throw all the levers, the AXS shifter back on. I'll be back when all the running gear is back on the bars. We are going to be running on this bike, ODI long neck lock-on grips. Shout out Matt at ODI UK for being a legend and sending me sick grips. So I'm currently running a grey version of these on the electric bike. I was tempted to run these because they felt so good, but I do want to run BMX feeling grips. I'm going to stick to the ODI long neck grips on this bike. So let's go for the install. Check it out. 50mm rise bars. I think maybe depending on how the electric bike, which is just over there, starts to feel, because I've taken these off the electric bike and I'm running lower bars on the electric bike. So these are 50mm rise and I'm running 38mm rise on the electric bike. I've kind of done that as a test. I want to know what bars feel more natural. Right now we are doing a full brake sort of service with new pads. So I've got a brake bleed kit. I'm going to start with the rear brake. So in short, I run my brakes opposites. So when I first bought this bike, the first thing I did was swapped the brakes by undoing them here. Then they need a bleed because as soon as you open mountain bike brakes, they get contaminated with air. The pads were contaminated on the front and the rear, so I've bought car brake cleaner because I couldn't find any more. This was the only brake cleaner I could find from Halfords. It does say that it's silicone and acetone free, so I think it's going to be okay. I've got new pads and yeah, so I'm going to basically bleed the brakes before I put new pads in, clean the discs, put the pads in and then live the dream. So they were very, very, very tight for bleed ports. Next thing I got to do, I got to undo this spanner and I got to push this fluid through here and see how much air comes out. Basically, long story short, I switched these cables around and they still felt okay, but I just don't want to drive somewhere like Wales, Scotland to have a ride and realise that my brakes need bleeding. It's just going to be so frustrating, so I'd rather just bleed them and then I'll know. Now we are going to push some fluid up and see if any bubbles come up. Okay, I've loaded up the fresh syringe down the bottom because the fluid was looking pretty black. I'm going to push again one more time, see if we can get this fluid to be clearer. And all I'm doing is just, with that funnel still in the top, just going on a few different angles, pumping the lever and just seeing if there's any more air to come out of this thing. There's been a few tiny little bubbles, to be fair. But not a lot. So, syringe is on. Did make a bit of a mess that time. I'm going to clean that down now. It's going to be very exciting to see how much air comes out of this one. And this one definitely felt like the one that needed bleeding more. Oh my days. I'm so glad I've bled these. That is black. You can't even see the air bubbles, it's that black. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna hang fire and do another top up. So I've got a cloth here. And I've got a cloth here. And all I'm doing is just seeing what I can get off these discs by giving them a good clean. So I'll show you how much come off that actual disc, which is pretty mad. A lot of residue and oil, which makes me think I'm not going crazy and the brakes were contaminated on the discs. I'm going for a full factory reset today, so I'm going to be sanding the disc back to its stock metal, and then I'm going to do a proper bedding in process where we actually get the new pads that have now been fitted to the bike unused to bed the material onto the disc. Okay, so check it out. Both sides are completely sanded down, so I'm going to re-clean this again with some, I'm actually using car brake cleaner. Apparently it's the same thing. So I'm going to put fresh gloves on, get fresh microfibers, give it another clean, put it back on the bike, and I guess I'll show you when my bike's done, because then I'm going to go outside and bed my brakes in, which I probably won't film. So I've been messing around outside and I've re-bedded in my disc brakes. Check them, all done, feeling nice and powerful. And check out my bite. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. So my bite point is super sharp on these brakes now. So brakes are fully completed. Now I'm going to remove these weed bolts because I ain't a smoker, so I'm getting rid of these ganja leaf upper linkage bolts. I bought 2 on eBay for 20 quid in titanium in black. So these are going to replace the weed bad boys. Changed this weed bolt on this side, however I'm going to show you the difference in this one. I'm not anti-cannabis, I just don't smoke. The freshies going in, going to get it right up to about there. It's apparently 16 Newton meters of torque, so we're going to be clever and we're going to use the torque wrench with it being a carbon fibre frame. This is the upper linkage bolt, 16 Newton meters of torque. People hate it when you go twice on a torque wrench, but fuck the haters. That's going to be the end of the bike build. Hope you enjoyed.